Hello, respected viewers. As I think I said about Trump's second term already, fasten your seatbelts. We're in for a bumpy ride, and so it has proved. So his lability is proven yet again by the huge tariffs he put in, and then other countries putting tariffs on United States goods. And if China responded, he was going to go tariffs even higher. They did go even higher, and so on. Then he's reduced them. Is it for 90 days for almost every country in the world? So there's no telling what's going to happen next. Just wow, anything could happen. And as people in business tell me, what they want is continuity, predictability. They do if they know if they do X, then Y will happen, or something like that. They can forecast a few months and years ahead. And obviously, you can't have absolute certainty in such matters, but as close to that as possible, so that they can make sensible and informed decisions. So the tariffs could be scrapped anytime. It's a bit like, remember Little Rocket Man? He was contemulous towards Kim Jong Un, the North Korean tyrant, and then we fell in love. Wow. So could easily fall out of love with someone just as easily. And it's been widely predicted that's going to happen between him and Elon Musk. The United States is not big enough for such two egos. The only what reason he's kowtowing to Elon Musk is Elon Musk is even richer than him. Now that's gotta hurt, but he does admire wealth. So the tariffs are all over the place. It seemed like parasuicidal. It's almost as though he wanted to do as much harm to the U.S. economy as possible. But no, I think it's sheer stupidity, not realizing that American consumers they purchase goods from abroad, and the cost of an iPhone has doubled as a result. So you're making their shopping basket more expensive. The food, the clothes, the things they need are pricier. Okay, but they'll buy the American alternative. Sometimes they will. Sometimes there is no American alternative. There might be an American alternative, but it's costlier or poorer quality. Why do they buy the imports? Okay, Trump, you want other countries to purchase more American goods. Well, the American goods have got to either get cheaper or better, ideally both. That's why. Why do we trade at all? I mean, if America's so great, or if any country is so fantastic, we trade because other countries produce goods that your country can't, or they produce it better or at a lower price. That's why. So he doesn't understand a zero-sum game, that you can both be winners out of this. And the United States was doing very nicely, thank you, after NAFTA, about 15 years of economic growth. And okay, even more factory jobs went to the wall, but that's because they've been on a downward trajectory for decades. Gets too expensive, and other countries can do it cheaper, and so forth. And then there's some American manufacturers. Yeah, they make these things in the United States, but they need a component from abroad. They need raw materials from abroad, and you've just made it way more expensive. And there's sometimes the cases that are okay. American consumers, they'll now purchase American manufactured things, but they'll buy fewer of them because it's so expensive. And other countries hitting back, and so the United States is going to be able to sell fewer of its items abroad because foreign tariffs are making American goods way pricier. So Americans are going to lose their jobs. So it's just a downward spiral. It's like a really imbecilic. And it's happened a few times when the United States has messed around with these tariff wars. I mean, I'm not necessarily against all tariffs. I don't have some moral principle against them. But I do know that generally speaking, they're a bad thing. It's better they could be minimized. But he's like trying to cut his nose off to spite his face. It's proof yet again of his hubris, his overconfidence, his anti-intellectualism. He's so haughty, he's unwilling to seek advice from those who know better, because he doesn't have any awareness of his own deficits because he's so cognitively limited. Most people, I know my many weaknesses. I'm terrible at anything technological, mathematical, scientific. So I would seek help on those ones because I know I can't do it, and most people can do it far better than I can. But he's so intellectually limited, he doesn't realize that he is leaving ruination in his wake. Maybe compared to Liz Truss's fiscal event. In case you don't know, Mary Elizabeth Truss, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. When was it? Was it 6th of September 2022? She got appointed. She lasted exactly 49 days on post. And the Queen died 2 days later, 10 days for a period of mourning, the funeral, and then Liz Truss launched her cataclysmic plan to slash taxes and borrow more, and the taxes were going to stimulate the economy so much it would pay for itself. But the market spooked, the pound lost value, the stock market reacted very badly, and then it was also predictable, being forecast by the experts, those economically illiterate. Now, at least this woman had a degree in economics, it had worked in the financial sector, but she still got it really badly wrong. And indeed, her Chancellor Exchequer, Kwasi Kwarteng, had a PhD from Cambridge in economics, but somehow he managed to get it very badly wrong. Well, they're experts, well, kind of, but there is the expert consensus. I know that is sometimes mistaken, but that is unusual. Normally, they're right. So it's not such a bad thing to go with the conventional wisdom, especially if you don't know better yourself. But the Conservative Party, the cabinet was able to force her out by threatening mass resignations, and she was kicked out. Um, but there's not really a similar mechanism in the United States. The cabinet can remove the president on the grounds of ill health, which has never ever happened. Will they do it this time? I doubt it. Remember, they're all Trump's place men and place women. They're only there because they're appointed by him, and all right, they've got to be confirmed by the United States Congress. But it's going to start to hit Trump's working class supporters, particularly in the rural states. People with the lowest incomes, they're suddenly going to find the things that they need to purchase have got a lot pricier, and they're losing their jobs and things like that. The dollar may lose value. It's going to speed up inflation. I remember one of the things that he was hammering Joe Biden about was inflation was too high, and he's just made it worse. But anyway, at least he's reduced tariffs on most countries. 125% tariffs on Chinese goods. So anyway, financial markets in Asia, they jumped when they found that Donald Trump has announced this 90-day pause for these countries hit by US tariffs. But you know what's going to happen after 90 days? We don't know. He could end them completely before the 90 days are up. He could increase them. He could change the 90-day time limit. We don't know what's happening because his mind is very, very changeable. Does he have a mind? Wow. And he's always emotionalizing. He's always taking it personally. And he's saying he's doing this to China, the 125% tariff, because of lack of respect. So, you know, the Chinese have imposed an 84% tariff on US imports. They said they won't back down. Now, the Chinese really care about face. They don't want to be seen to be humiliated. Remember the unequal treaties from the about the 1840s to the 1940s. They felt they're pushed around by other countries, particularly Western countries, including the United States, which threatened them, bullied them, and controlled all their major ports. So they don't want to have this again. And this smacks of the 19th century of gunboat diplomacy. And remember, China is a superpower. China's economy is second only to that of the United States. I know it's well behind. And Chinese has had significant problems for several years, slow economic growth, the demographic death spiral, the number of people going to third level education has increased enormously this century. So families invested a lot of money in that, but the handsomely remunerated jobs that they were assured for their daughters and sons are not there. So they're not happy. So the Chinese are in a more vulnerable position than they were a few years ago. So if they're really willing to negotiate, Trump might get something, and so on. So it's going to be a universal 10% tariff for 90 days. After that, we really don't know. So Trump has already backed down because it was so damaging. I don't think he'll pursue these tariffs very long, several months. I mean, I'd rather he'd never done them at all. But, you know, he wiped over $2.2 trillion off the stock market in one day. Speaking to someone whose pension's gone down to value £20,000, I don't know if it's rebounded. Wow, wow, what an imbecile. And then, of course, there are his facilitators, people who know better, but are so utterly cowardly and invertebrate that they're going along with this instead of speaking out against it, because I suppose they just crave place and pelf. They want to have that job title rather than doing the right thing for the public, even if it means they lose their job. Well, thank you for watching your channel. Make sure you subscribe on Patreon, donate to PayPal, georgecallahan79@gmail.com. Goodbye.